How's it going, champions? Dues, time after time. I paid my sentence, but committed no crime. And that mistakes, I've made a few. My share of sand in my face, but I've come through. We are the champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting to the end. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losers, because we are the champions of the world. All right, champions. Here we go. We're getting ready to do our review of our Unit 1 to prepare for our Summative Assessment, which is kind of our final exam or a review of what we learned throughout the last 3 or 4 weeks that we've been together studying this compelling question of how did the environment shape us? Okay, so in this review, I'm going to go over all the things you're going to need to know in order to get a mastery grade, 100% or between 90 and 100% on this assessment. So you can play this back, you can take notes while I'm going through, but the bottom line is you're going to be able to do great on this, and you're going to prove once again that you never quit and that you are a champion. So this compelling question, how did our environment shape us? You know, this idea of an environment, those things that surround us. We have geography with the landforms like mountains, rivers, deserts. We have weather and climate. It's cold in the winter, it's hot in the summer. In some places it's hot all the time, in some places it's cold all the time. So what we're looking at is how has the environment shaped us, starting with early man and even into today. And we looked at some of the things like food deserts, hurricanes, floods that affect us, that cause this idea for early man, and that is, why did early man migrate? And the environment had an awful lot to do with it, right? I mean, we looked at Hurricane Laura, what happened down in Texas, and how that hurricane pushed people out of the area. Natural disasters pushed them out of the area. Same thing with early man. And that's called the push-pull factor. Remember, the push-pull factor is situations that sometimes push people out of an area to make them migrate. Migrate is to move from one area to another. But there are things that can pull them to an area as well, like jobs, food. But a lot of times what pushes people out is scarcity. This idea of lack of food or lack of resources can push people out, but that availability can pull them in. So, when we look at why early man migrated, it was mainly to find these resources. And, what we learn is that, the main difference that we saw is that man started out as hunter-gatherers. Hunter-gatherers were that group of people that moved from place to place looking for food and resources. A lot of times there was scarcity, a lack of resources that caused them to move. But hunter-gatherers, these guys here on the right here, they moved from place to place in search of resources. Now, we know the agricultural societies, they grew food. Agriculture is growing food. It's domesticating animals for our use. And so what that was is a response to the scarcity, this lack of food. And where hunter and gatherers spent all their time looking for food and resources, because the agricultural society had farms and grew that food in one place, because agricultural societies stayed in one place and grew their own food, they were able to do other things like develop technologies, advanced technologies. Now, hunter-gatherers had technologies like bows and arrows and weapons and things to kill. They had to have shelters, teepees whenever they moved. And they had the hunter-gatherers, they had a division or specialization of labor. That is where one person gets good at a job, but their jobs were very limited to either hunting, killing animals and bringing them in, or gathering those foods and those other jobs. But again, in the agricultural society, because they were able to stay in one place, they were able to really specialize. And that is, people became farmers. And people had to make the farm tools. They had to dig the canals. They shaped the environment by digging the canals that brought the water to the people, which is technologies. And so they had advanced technologies. And technologies, of course, are those inventions and applications that make our lives easier. And our lives are made much easier in agricultural societies because we could stay in place. We could build, our cities that could protect us, and we could grow things for trade. Whereas, the hunter-gatherers could get, skins from animals and stuff like that, but they could bring those in trade. But the people in agricultural societies had more stuff that they could trade. Okay, and then we created this thing of hierarchies that we're going to talk about a little bit later. Now, this idea of technologies, again, those things that the inventions or applications that make life easier, with the clothing, with the irrigation ditch, a canal that brought the water from the river to the people, igloo shelters that took snow and ice and created shelters. The plow that dug up the ground in order to allow farmers to plant, writing that allowed to communicate, cave paintings that allowed communication and telling of stories, the wheelbarrow that allowed, the creation of the wheel and allowed people to carry heavy things. So this idea of technology, it's an invention or application that makes life easier or better for man. And and we think about how we organized as early societies. And again, talking about the hunter-gatherers. Some people went out to hunt. Some people gathered. Some people made clothes. Some groups of people made shelters. But they had to organize to meet their needs. They had to have the specialization of labor as well to allow them to get good at a job and become an expert at it and special at it. That specialization of labor. And they organize in order to survive. And the survival, again, is built around food, water, oxygen, and shelter, and protection. Those are the things that we saw. And, when we identified those top jobs, we had a great discussion on what are those jobs that are most important. We identified a leader that had to organize. And this is a hierarchy, right? This is it. Somebody's at the top, and the jobs go all the way down to the bottom. And we talked about that there are positive and negative impacts of that. So you have leaders, you have protectors, you have farmers, hunters, you have traders. Traders, people that trade items. Or people that build, tool makers and weapon makers. So we have these jobs in a hierarchy, ranks one above the other in groups. And that's very important because it helps organize the society. Again, the leader at the top and the people that work with the leader to organize the society and keep it thriving and living. That's a hierarchy when it's ranked, above one another, a hierarchy. And what we learned is, hierarchy allows for this organization, but also there are people at the bottom who don't always get the things they need in order to survive and be successful. So there's positive and negative aspects of hierarchy. So what we're going to talk about is this assessment. Okay, and I just went over all the things that we'll be able to do in the assessment. But essentially what we're going to do is you're going to be given a worksheet that looks like this. And it's going to have a word bank with all the words we just talked about, all these words: migration, moving from one place to another, agricultural society, that that a society or a group that stays in one place and grows food. Push-pull factors, factors that push people away and cause that migration, or factors that pull them in, like jobs and availability of food. The scarcity is one of the things that push people out. Scarcity is a lack of resources, a lack of food. Hierarchy, that ranking above one another. Hunter-gatherer societies that move around looking for resources. Specialization of labor, getting good at a job, and becoming an expert in it. And trade, of course, is exchanging items or services with others. So what you're going to do is a couple things in this summative assessment. And the first thing is you're going to look at these images, and you're going to pick two of these images. And in one, whichever one you choose, you're going to explain the main idea of these images. So, I'm not going to tell you. You can kind of look at them because we've been talking about these throughout the last couple of weeks. Pick two and tell me the main idea. Do it in one or two sentences. And then what you're going to do is you're going to answer the questions, three questions here. Why did early man migrate? Technologies and the environment, and how the environment affected us. And then you're going to use those vocabulary words in the word bank whenever you in the sentences that you use to answer this question. Now, you'll get extra credit if you use all the words. It's got to may take it one or more sentences. Okay, but you will get extra credit. And this is the grading scale. This is nothing new to you guys. This, A is 90 to 100, B 80 to 89, 70 to 78, 60 to 60, 70, 79, 60, 69. Okay, and we're going to focus mostly on the top here because I know most of y'all are going to get A's and B's. Okay, so here we are. And like I said, this is going to be, we're going to do some other work on this. But remember, I just want you to keep positive. We'll get through this. You're going to have a great opportunity. And we're going to remain champions because we are the champions, right? We are the champions. All right, guys. Good luck, and looking forward to reading these great assessments. And awesome. Let's go get it.